Hey everybody, Tim here with a brand new series, brand new premiere. Not sure if you guys have heard, it's been like really kind of under the wire, but evidently Disney has like a new app that just came out today. Like I haven't heard anything about it, didn't even know it was coming out, like whatever, clearly I'm full of shit. But anyways, because you can't even like turn around without somebody being like, oh my god, look what they have, and stuff like that. So, one of the brand new things that are on the streaming app is The Mandalorian. So, Season 1, Episode 1, I'm not even sure if they've announced like a Season 2 or anything. So, I did the reaction videos to, I think, 2 of the trailers, I don't even remember, and was really into them, really liked it, but couldn't really figure out anything that was going on. Like, and I mean, that's kind of a good teaser. Like, it was enough for me to be like, this looks interesting, but not enough to be like, oh, I already know the ending. So I was really excited for that. As for this first episode, I still don't really have much to talk about. I am a big Star Trek, or I am a big Star Trek fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but clearly not as big as Star Trek. Like, I love just about everything Star Trek. Star Wars, I've seen it all, but I don't necessarily love it all. Like, whether it be the holiday special, which kind of had a shout out in The Mandalorian, whether it be like the old cartoons like Ewoks, droids, stuff like that, whether it be the new cartoons like Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance even, which is still on the air, so that's cool. Like, I pretty much, if it's Star Wars, I will at least sit down and watch it, and then sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. It goes back and forth. I even love the Ewok movies. I do love those because I kind of grew up with them, so it's got that nostalgia thing. Anyway, so the first thing that I noticed is the episode's only like 38 minutes long. Like, it's not very big. And it's a weird length. Like, it's not like the 22-minute long episodes, like if it had been on TV, but it's too short to be like the 45-minute episodes. It's like just this weird in-between, which, because it's their own streaming service, it's their own shows, they can do whatever they want, so it makes sense. Jon Favreau is kind of like the showrunner, and he's amazing. Like, I would trust this guy with anything. I don't necessarily like all of his movies, especially like, I don't know, his Disney live action ones, but we'll leave that aside. But he's a very talented man, and he's a very smart guy, especially when it comes to filmmaking. If I remember correctly, he even directed like the pilot to Orville or something. So, like, and you can, when you watch this, you can kind of see his feel in it. Like, he didn't direct the pilot, but you can kind of see that he was the guy behind it. Kind of like Joss Whedon in the Marvel movies. So that's kind of just the overall feel. Like, did I like it? I loved it. I thought it was great. After this, lots of spoilers, so either cut and run, or what did you guys think? The whole opening scene with the bar fight was just brilliant. The one guy with like the tentacles and stuff, like I said, I don't know a ton about Star Wars. I've at least seen everything, so I don't know a lot of the alien names. I don't know a lot of the character names, anything like that. So you guys are going to kind of have to bear with me. Leave me some comments. I'm down for like some educational stuff. But the one guy with like the white tentacle, whatever, it looks just like one of the aliens from Resistance. I'm not sure if he's been in other Star Wars stuff, or at least his race, but he looked very similar. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I liked how that continued through. And even the guy that like the Mandalorian is after reminded me of Niku from Resistance, just like the annoying but fish-like qualities of him. The Carbonite actually kind of caught me off guard. So the series clearly takes place after Return of the Jedi, after Episode 6. How far? Not 100% sure. Could be a day, could be 5 years, I don't know. But like, when they first froze Han in Carbonite, like, everybody was shocked. They're like, are you out of your mind? Like, he's probably gonna die. And so, but afterwards, and after Return of the Jedi, evidently freezing people in Carbonite just became standard practice. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. You do you, boo-boo. Speaking of which, we actually see some stormtroopers, and like, they looked great. Like, I don't know, this is like the most HD I've ever seen Star Wars. So I thought it was really interesting. But the stormtroopers looked great. Speaking of which, I love just most of the like alien qualities, because they seem to be a really good mixture of like CG but actual prosthetics and stuff. George Lucas be that what it may, tends to go really heavy on CGI. He did great with the props, but sitting back and watching them, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of dated. It's not that great. So he's like, CG it all. And it's like, okay, nope, you just went from one extreme to the other. This one, I mean, Disney has money. That's not a secret. You can watch any other movie and see them do like the de-aging process and stuff, and you're like, that's painful to look at. You look at some of the Marvel movies and stuff, and it's gorgeous. Like, you think that they filmed it back in the 80s, and they just kept it forward. Clearly, it's still some CG stuff going on there, but it's so much better than anybody else on the market. A lot of the aliens in this looked great. Like, just the way their faces moved, the expressions, all of it. It looked very, very practical with a little bit of CG just to kind of help bring it out. And I thought it was super well done. I loved it. The whole discretion thing, I loved. Like, we're already in the culture, which is great. Because you watch something like John Wick, for example. You go into this movie not knowing a thing about it, and they start bringing up all of these terms and these words and these like little phrases, and you have to kind of piece it together. Like, oh, like this is a whole culture. Like, it's basically a foreign language. And watching this, I mean, it's not to that extreme, but like him talking about the pucks, which are the things that like have the bounties and stuff like that. And you slowly start getting yourself into this culture. It's amazing. Like, it was really well done. The flashbacks I actually didn't like. Like, I felt like those were a little forced, where he's like, I survived. And it's like, okay, so we get it. You're a poor orphan child, whatever the case be. Very Batman-esque. Didn't need it. Like, it just, they could have left that whole part out. Like, I liked the whole scene of the female Mandalorian like building his little shoulder pad. Like, that was great. I didn't need his flashbacks, just me personally. Again, with the alien makeup, him learning to ride the blurb or whatever they called that thing, like the weird horse type creature, was fantastic. It looked great. The little alien dude looked amazing. I loved it. The big like gunfight at the OK Corral with, what is it, like IG-18 or 88 or something, which we've seen the IG units, the bounty hunter droids, before. To my knowledge, this is not the same one that we saw in Empire, or what is it, Rebels? I think it was Rebels or Clone Wars, whatever. We've seen a lot of like the bounty hunter droids before. It was really interesting. It was really well done, but it wasn't necessarily new. And he was kind of funny, and just the way he moved was better than anything else. And that's what Star Wars has done better over the years. Because you watch like the first movie, like the Star Wars, New Hope, Episode 4, whatever you want to call it, and like just the lightsaber battles are just very slow. And then you get to like Episode 1, where they are so choreographed and they are so well done, you're like, that's the way the battle needs to happen. Kind of the same thing. Like, we saw these droids before, and they just kind of move like a robot and they shoot. Whereas in this, like, different parts are spinning in different directions. Like, his eye holes kind of move. It was really, really well done. And then finally, the big twist with him finding his target, the 50-year-old alien, is like, boom. Like, I was pissed. I was like, why is this not Netflix? Why do I not just have like all 10 episodes right now? No, I have to wait next week, episode 2, to kind of, or chapter 2, to kind of continue the story. But like, I'm hooked. I am so in on this show. It looks great. The story, like, there's not much to it. I have very little notes because it's just character development, which is hard to talk about. I'm digging it. I'm loving it. I love how they didn't even take the Mandalorian helmet off. I actually did break down and I looked up and I was like, that's who the Mandalorian is? I'm going to leave it until he actually takes the helmet off, if he ever takes it off. But so far, I really like it. For those who have seen the pilot, what did you guys think so far? Like, what do you think about this in the first steps of a Disney live-action universe? Like, are you hoping for more, like an Obi-Wan live-action show? Knights of the Old Republic live-action show? What are you guys hoping to see out of this? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next week for Chapter 2.